will target the adrenal medulla, and they will tell the adrenal medulla, which is this part inside here, to actually start producing its hormones. Now, what are these hormones that will actually be released? Number one, epinephrine and norepinephrine. In other states, they say adrenaline and noradrenaline. And when these guys are actually released, they will enter circulation and they will do certain things. But what they will do is that they'll actually stimulate the fight or flight response. And John will actually decide what to do. He will say, should I actually fight this dog, or should I actually run away from this dog? And this is all because of the adrenal gland. So it works in acute stress. That we also have the adrenal cortex. The adrenal cortex. Now, as you've seen, the adrenal cortex is actually starting from this point up to this point. So if you can actually see here, we have the first layer, the second layer, and the third layer. So this actually means the adrenal cortex has 3 layers. And when the hormone that stimulates this comes, it stimulates these layers to produce its own hormones, because each layer produces its own hormones, and they work differently, but in a way which they are actually similar if you actually look at them closer. So the first layer is the zona glomerulosa. The second layer is the zona fasciculata, and the third layer is the zona reticularis. And you actually remember this by remembering the GFR as the GFR of the kidney, the glomerular filtration rate. In here, it's the of the adrenal gland, where G is for zona glomerulosa, F for fasciculata, and R for zona reticularis. Now, these layers are important because this layer produces its own hormone, the mineralocorticoids. An example is aldosterone. Here is the zona fasciculata, and it produces glucocorticoids, and an example of this is cortisol. Then the zona reticularis actually produce androgens. Now, let us see what happens here. This adrenal cortex works in response to long-term stress. So an example of this, I'll say, let's say the same guy, John, actually has a funeral and one of his loved ones has actually died. Then he actually enters into stress. He's thinking about it for too long. What actually happens is that the brain will sense this. And inside the brain, the guy that is sensing this is the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus will actually begin to release a hormone called corticotropin hormone. Now, this corticotropin hormone will go to the anterior pituitary glands.